Greetings, everyone. Your cartoonist pal Stan here with another episode of Random Encounters, the show where I use random encounter tables like the kind you find in tabletop role playing games, such as Dungeons and Dragons, and I use that together with a little inspiration, electronic die roller, and help from you to create random cartooning prompts, kind of similar to what you get prompt wise at an improv comedy show, except they're about D&D creatures and weird situations, and we use the random encounter tables to select one of each. We put them together, or I put them together, and I make a cartoon while you're watching for your entertainment and mine, because this is all fun. This grows out of a thing I do for fun and to kind of help me generate ideas when I don't know exactly what to draw. And it could help you. The same kind of process could help you to generate ideas for drawing or for writing or for game design. It's the kind of thing where you take ideas that might go together, but you don't you didn't think about it. You didn't think about putting them together. It's a challenge to take these two things and make them work. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but you have fun along the way. I love drawing. God, I love drawing. I was reminded of that the other day, last weekend when I was just drawing, or was it last weekend? Sometime soon, sometime recently, where I was just drawing just for the fun of it, and I realized that 3/4 of the day had gone, and I was just happy as a clam. Are clams really that happy? No, happy as a clam, just drawing for the fun of it. And so we're here tonight to do it. Here tonight too, to draw for the fun of it. I hope you maybe will join me. Grab your favorite drawing implement, whether that's a notebook and a crayon, or some printer paper and a ballpoint pen, or an electronic drawing implement like I use. I use an iPad, Apple iPad, an Apple Pencil, and the app Procreate, because that's what I use for my professional work. None of this is sponsored. Not sponsored for my professional work either, unless you count the people who are paying me. That's not sponsorship. That's paying for a service. So, here we go. Michael Pastor, thank you for joining. Glad to see you. Michael says random tables rule. They're a lot of fun for a lot of different things. I'm just glad that I thought to use them for this show. So there we go. That explains what we're doing. Kind of explains why we're doing it. So I guess there's only one thing left to do, and that is to do it. So I'm going to grab my iPad here. I'm going to hit this button there, and we're going to come over. And we're going to come over, and we're going to see that. Come on, here we go. These are our encounter tables for the evening. I'm going to go over to my electronic die rolling app, and we're going to roll up a who and a what. So here we go. Once, twice, a third time. 2. 2 is our first who, and once and twice and third time. 1. 1 is our first what. So we'll come back and we'll see that's a zombie ice skating. Zombie ice skating is our first prompt. So we'll turn off the images, and I'm going to be doing my sketching in a blue pen like I always do. I'm going to have a zombie ice skating. Alright, well, I mean, that's simple enough, right? We got a zombie. The question really is, how are zombies going to be posed? So much of drawing, cartooning of any sort, or drawing of any sort, but cartooning in particular, is about the postures you put your characters in. right now with those straight legs. And this is the first thing you think about zombie. Hello, Casey. Thank you for joining us. Went very similar, but I'm thinking that maybe I want our zombie to be a little out of sorts, and that's going to mean loosening up those legs. Doesn't look at all out of sorts with straight, easy moving legs like that. So I think we're going to have crazy legs, kind of Snoopy dancing crazy legs style, all over the place. Um, let's grab this, move it up here. I'm trying to think now, who could our zombie be chasing on the ice? Who could our zombie be chasing on the ice? It could be like a little. I'm tempted to make it be a penguin because I like drawing penguins. There's a scene in the '78 movie Dawn of the Dead where a zombie in a green collared shirt skates in an ice rink. Okay. Not, honestly, not a big zombie movie fanatic. Uh, I like, like a lot of people, I like the concept of zombies, but I'm not big on gore. And Dawn of the Dead did have a lot of good humor in it. I did see that. It's one of the movies that I enjoy more than most. Rather than have that arm out, we're going to have that arm back across the body. Again, this kind of stresses the out of position, the unbalancedness of it. Um, thinking. I mean, I like the zombie. I'm not so sure that I've got anything that's particularly funny about this, but that's all right. The zombie on ice skates. That's funny enough. All right, let's draw this. Let's take that sketch and make it into a drawing. So we're on the lines layer now, and I'm going to, of course, one of the ways you show someone out of sorts is this um, unevenness in eye shape, that kind of bug-eyed. How's everyone doing tonight? Now, a week away from both Christmas and Hanukkah, they fall on the exact same first night. First night of Hanukkah is Christmas Day, and of course, then there's of course the other, uh, there's so many other uh, holidays around the season. I myself do not. I'm not a practicing devotee of any religion. Uh, I was raised Jewish, but my mother's side of the family was not. So we also would celebrate Christmas with them. But really, none of it was particularly meaningful to me in a religious sense. I've always been more of a Christmas TV special uh, celebrator than a celebrator of any of the holidays themselves. Big fan of Rankin Bass Christmas specials and others, of course. Charlie Brown Christmas, the grandfather of them all. Did you guys have a favorite Christmas special growing up? It's late for Hanukkah. Yeah, well, Hanukkah, of course, being on the Jewish calendar, being on being I'm not even sure. It's not a lunar calendar. I'm not. I don't know how to describe the way the Jewish calendar works. Certainly don't understand it. But the dates move around. Yes, very often Hanukkah is a few weeks or days earlier than Christmas, um, but sometimes they overlap some. It's very rare for this, uh, the way it is this year. I was just talking with one of my other friends about it, um, and they saying that they had no memory of Hanukkah and Christmas being this overlapped, as in starting on the exact same day. And I vaguely remember something similar. I don't know if it was exactly the same day, but around the same day. Certainly, I remember lots of years where the two of them on Christmas we would be doing the uh, one of the nights of Hanukkah. More often, one of the later nights, but sometimes an early one. But I don't really remember another one where they lined up exactly. Certainly don't remember one where Hanukkah started later. But I think even that is possible too. But all that is to say, yes, it's unusual for them to be starting exactly the same time like they are this year. But, the magic of the season, as they say. Pull through here with some motion lines. suppose if I was going to do this for real, I'd want to give the arms almost the same kind of flailing about, but that would just be insanity. And then we're going to come over here to our penguin, who's very calm and eyes half lidded because he knows he's pretty safe. With the zombie flailing about like that. Oh, we got a lot of chat going on here. Let's see what's going on here. Oh, my case says he's off until Monday. Good for you. Year Without a Santa Claus. That was always a good one with the Heat Miser and Cold Miser songs. It's a good one. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. I have a movie watching club, like a book club, but a movie club, and we just did our December meeting uh, earlier this week, and we had done. Usually, what happens is um, the person once a month, one of us will be. Each month, one of us will pick three movies of a in a grouping, and then everyone will vote, and we'll watch one of them and discuss it. And this time, it was holiday movies, and Christmas Vacation was one of the potential ones that did not win, but everyone had seen almost all of them, so we talked about all of them. We talked about Christmas Vacation. Interesting movie. In some ways, I think it's the best of the vacation movies, and in some ways, I can't. I just can't. It's a little too. It succeeds a little too much in being cringy. Um, Person having Hanukkah and Christmas Day overlap about once every 15 years, according to Google. Thank you, Michael, for checking that out for us. All right, so let's turn off the sketch and see what this looks like without that. Gotta add a little bit more in here, I think, but we're basically there. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to add a little bit of a background just to give this some sense of location. It's not a lot, but it really just. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago. It adds so much just to put that much hint of a detail in. It, it changes your whole take on the drawing itself. It feels more complete. All right. Looking all right. So let's go to the color layer and start adding in some colors. I'm going to go to my change brushes to the gloaming brush, which gives me a kind of crayon-y, markery effect. I'm trying to figure out whether I want a more yellowish hue for the zombie. Yeah, that's about it. yellowish green, an unhealthy green, a little darker than what I want, I think. So undo those, because I often will get to the end of a drawing and I notice that the colors are fighting the, the finish lines because I've gotten about the right color and just gone too dark with it. That was going to be that problem. I was predicting ahead that by the time it was done, that color was going to be too strong. So now we've got a lighter version of it. All right, and you want a dark green for the hair. I'm doing zombies. I don't know why it would change their hair color, but whenever I do zombies, I give them green hair too. It adds to the monstrous look. And I'll tell you, in the in 2024, I have done quite a few zombie drawings for a project that has not been announced yet. But I was just talking with a publisher last week, and I believe that in February or March of this year, of 2025, that the project is going to be announced. And I'll be happy because then I can tell you all about it. I did a lot of drawing for this project, and I'm super excited for it to come out. Fans of Stan cartoons will be pleased with this when it comes out, and hopefully, I can say that it's a game project, and I think that game players will probably like it too. It's a fun little game. Patrick says, I always like the various versions of A Christmas Carol. 1971 animated TV special. 1970, I don't remember that one. Can you describe it more? What sets the 1971 version apart? How would I recognize it if I was watching it? I can tell you right now, one of my favorite animated versions, and in fact, I mean, I love A Christmas Carol as a story. In fact, I do one of my one seasonal uh, um, traditions is that I listen to the book on tape of Patrick Stewart's one man version of A Christmas Carol every year, at least once, sometimes more than once, and sometimes I even listen to it off season because it's just so dang good. Um, but there are a lot of really good versions of A Christmas Carol. I of course like the Muppet Christmas Carol with Michael Caine is very good. Um, will it be oh, you're asking about the game? I don't think it's going to be a Kickstarter. I think that the company is just going to announce it as a release for later in the year. I don't think that the plan is for them to kickstart it. It's not my game. I did not do the game design, and I'm not publishing it. I just did the art. Um, yeah, there have been a lot of. Let's go back to the Christmas Carol. Um, the Muppet version is really good. The 1930 36. Alistair Cook one. I think it's 30s. That's all, of course, one of the all time classics. Um, but I'll tell you, one of my favorites that doesn't get mentioned a lot is Mr. Magoo's Christmas Carol. The Mickey Mouse version Chris brings up, yes, Mickey Mouse version. That Disney version is also very good. Um, I don't know. Do any of you recall having seen the Mr. Magoo one? It was. It really is quite good. Um, it was done as a. It's done as a movie. I think it's about an hour and a half long. It was a made-for-TV movie, um, and it was the start of a whole series that they did with Mr. Magoo in the late '60s, early '70s, um, where the Mr. Magoo version of A Christmas Carol, the conceit is that it actually is a production of the Christmas Carol that Mr. Magoo is in. But then once you get into it, it it's immersive. But every commercial break, they pull out like you're in a theater, and they show there'll be acts that break up, you know, intermissions that break up the show. There we go. I think we're going to come back here and add even a more lighter haze on the ice. There we go. We've got a zombie ice skating, kinda. I still need to pull that down a little bit. Not much. Just a few percent. Zombie ice skating, our very first drawing of the evening. Um, so let's come back to the lines layer and drop my little stand there in the corner. Because we got a zombie ice skating as our first drawing of the night. I wonder if he meant the Mr. Magoo one. Mr. Magoo was around a lot in the '70s. Yeah, the Mr. Magoo one. So, like I say, it was really good. I think it was just it's a very good adaptation of the Christmas Carol. Mr. Magoo does not. The character he plays doesn't act like Mr. Magoo in that he's not nearsighted and isn't goofing up like that. He's just playing the role. It's a very interesting use of Mr. Magoo. It's the shape of him, um, but he's not playing his character. He's just playing the role. So, like I say, they did a whole series. This turned into a Saturday morning series where they would adapt classic pieces of literature, and I think it ran for a couple of seasons. And it's with always the same character, so it still had that conceit of being an acting company because it was like a preparatory company. The same actors, the same character designs would be in each story playing different roles. There's the guy who usually played the villain, had same look about him every time. There were 4 or 5 recognizable characters that would show up. The main one, of course, being Mr. Magoo. Anyway, if the link is Patrick says is on YouTube, yeah, post a YouTube link. That's fine. Jim Backus did indeed do the voice, and he sounded just, the Mr. Magoo sounded like Mr. Magoo. He just didn't play up that whole deal. If you've ever seen a Mr. Magoo cartoon, it's all about him not being able to see things right and getting into stupid adventures because he sees things, he missees things and just wanders off into danger. This does not happen in either the Christmas Carol or any of this other series, but he still he still talks like, oh Magoo. Well, he plays Cyrano, as acted by Mr. Magoo. It's really good. I can't tell you how much I love those cartoons. Um, Highly recommended. Start with the Christmas Carol, and if you like it, check out the rest of that series. All right, there we go. That is a zombie ice skating after a fashion. Let's close that out. Turn on round 2. Turn back on our encounter tables. And let's go and do another drawing. Let's see what our next prompt is. So we'll come over to here and we will roll the dice once or twice. The third time. 2, no. 1. Okay, here we go. 1. 1. So far I've had all 1s and 2s. 1 is our next who, and once and twice and third time 5. 5 is our second what. So that'll be a Drider knitting. Knitting. That's it's very on the nose. That's an easy one to think of some gags to go with it. So let's just roll with that. I'm going to come back here, turn that on. And a Drider, of course, I say of course, those of you who are D&D fans already will know a Drider is kind of a spider version of a centaur. It's the body of a giant spider, the back end of a giant spider with the torso and upper part of a drow, of an underground dark elf. So here we go. So we're going to have ourselves, I'm going to have him facing, looking to the left, since the last one was looking to the right. Oh, didn't turn that on. There we go, on. So we're going to have a Drider. Knitting. What are they knitting? I'm not sure yet. But it's going to be coming out of their own spinneret. Now, where is there a gag in this? Now, gag is going to certainly part be whatever it is they're knitting, but I think part of that should be who they're knitting it for. And to that end, I'm going to take this and I'm going to move it over here. I think we're going to have someone hanging upside down. I'm going to turn this. It's hard for me to draw someone that's upside down and get it right. Get the proportions right. Let's draw that. Alright, I'm not sure about this. I'm putting these in like I'm going to have them sitting on in a web, and I don't think that's going to happen. It's a little too complicated. I think they're just going to be standing here. Standing on a cliffside. An underground cliff. Not 100% sure what the gag is. I suppose. Um, so I'll talk it through with you, right? I don't need to surprise you. This is about doing it. So I'm thinking that the Drider is going to be knitting something for this person that they've got spun upside down, and they're asking him. Depending on what it was, the obvious joke would be, you look like you're about a size 5, right? Um, knitting knitting them a sweater. Maybe, yeah, that's it. We'll just have an upside down sweater like that. It could be, in a more complete version, might be a straight jacket. It might be something else, some other torture device. But here we can just go like that. And I just need a little more detail for myself so that I can get that right. Okay. Now we'll go to the lines layer and put in some lines. Let me see what's going on here in the chat. Knitting circle. Yes, scarves, of course, are the obvious choice for any kind of easy knitting project. I can make musical elven chainmail, but no, all everyone wants is Christmas sweaters. All right, so we're on the lines layer. Let's start putting in some lines. Again, I'm going to have the half-lidded eyes. I don't know why that's come up twice in 2 drawings, but maybe it's just that kind of evening. Sometimes there's something in the air. Yeah. Any other holiday specials that you folks particularly would wait for every year? Let's say our movie group was talking about the Charlie Brown Christmas, which of course was one of the very first uh, big time holiday specials of all. As I say, the grandfather of them all. Um, and my one friend was saying that back in the day, back in the days of network television, right? These were the kind of things you waited for them all year. You couldn't watch things on demand. You couldn't watch them anytime you wanted. You didn't have them. There was no VCR or digital replay. There was no internet. When they came on, that's when you watched them. And if you missed it, you'd be out of luck, and it would be until uh, next holiday season before you could see them again. And he was, of course, talking about some times when the one year that they did miss it, and what a tragedy that seemed like, because they'd been waiting all year for the Charlie Brown Christmas, and they missed it. They got back. They were out, and they got back just too late uh, for to see it, and and how that had really stuck with him and his brother as a formative memory. That's just looking disgusting. Maybe that's the point, though. It should look a little disgusting. Of course, there was Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Rankin Bass, the Frosty the Snowman, also Rankin Bass, but animated rather than claymation. The Year Without a Santa Claus, as we were talking about earlier, with the Heat Miser and the Cold Miser. Any others that you watched? Just so Wicked. Oh, you know what? I haven't seen Wicked yet. I've heard such good things about it. I'm very much looking forward to seeing it. It's too much of a nose, I think. Got that eye. I wanted to be looking at the Drider. Let's see. Look at the chat for a second here. Um, patient. I still have six more leg sleeves to knit. Wizard of Oz. Yeah, no. I I think that Casey's right. That usually was an Easter thing where I was anyway. I know I've talked to other people who remember it being a Christmas thing, so it might have been depending on local programming. Unsure. My memories of Wizard of Oz is it was a springtime thing. But the other one was certainly a winter one was Sound of Music was a holiday season one. If you were watching the Disney's pre-Disney Channel, the Disney Wonderful World of Disney show. Uh, there were holiday cartoons they played most year, or movies. Uh, Outtakes from Mary Poppins certainly were part of it. Um, I think I'm going to erase this one so that we can put some text in there. I think this drow is going to be asking, what size are you? Um, 42 regular. I thought so. Why is that funny? I don't know. It's not actually. Look at it as a joke. There's a funny idea in there, but this is certainly not a joke. This would be one of those things that I'd have to brainstorm and play around with for a while to get a joke out of, and it just doesn't seem um, likely enough to pay off. All right, so let's turn off the sketch layer. See what we've got here. It's looking okay. What do I need? What do I need to add here? Little bit of extra line work in there. Maybe something like that. Another couple of strands of hair. Okay, you know what I'd not like, and that's coming out far too strong. So it's supposed to be background. All right, so now I'm going to color this drow. I often have this conversation. What color skin do you give drow? And I always go for the purple. And everyone's got their own takes on it. But this is the way I like my drow. Other people go for a charcoal gray. Other people go for a kind of dark blue. Too dark. Too dark. It's funny how I want it to seem like a black spider, but that was too dark. It was gonna draw too much attention to itself. Can use that for the legs. Maybe we want something even darker there, so they stand out against. the skin, the main body. I'm going to use yellow to highlight the hair. Right, drow have white hair. We often talk about how to highlight different highlights you can use to achieve different feelings of white. Like, it still looks white though, um, but it's kind of a dirty white. We've got a surface elf that is being captured here, as opposed to another drow. Why would you torture another drow? But I am going to use a blue to highlight um, the white of the sweater that's being knit, and the uh, threads that are being used to hold the um, elf in captivity. And you'll see that both the sweater and the hair and what's holding the elf, most of that is white, but by adding those little bits of highlight, they feel like very different colors. Zoom in there, and we've got ourselves a nice little drawing of a drow knitting a sweater for a captive. As the joke would be, if there was a joke in here, it would be about why, it's drow holidays. I think it'd be um, the joke would be more along the lines of, I'm knitting you a sweater, and the uh, in fact, you know what? I'm gonna go in and play with that since we've got a little bit of time here. I'm going to go back to the lines later. I'm going to erase all the writing that we have right now because I just had an insight as to where a gag might be. So let's get rid of that. And it's not, again, not much of a gag, but there was no funny. That was just what was in there already was just something for them to say. There's nothing wrong with that. But I like to try and find some funny. Um, so the trick here, I want to find something for the drow to say up here. Oh, I'm using the wrong pen. That's why it's coming out weird. Something for the drow to say up here, and the elf to say, how kind, how thoughtful. Right, that's going to be, I can even put that in here. Mm, don't love how that's coming out. There we go. How thoughtful. So now I got to find something for the drow to say. Said I'm knitting you a sweater so you don't get cold. Right. It's drafty down here, so I'm knitting you a sweater. I think that's actually what I'm going to write. Again, as I say, not really a joke. Again, I mean, if we're going to try and find a joke that would disguise the fact that it's something that he's knitting, which is why I took the word knitting out. So I'd bring you a sweater, and knitting it um, out of his own spool. It'll shrink to fit. Yeah, there's a lot of jokes. You guys have the kind of thing I often say. If we were going to do a story out of this, you guys have a lot of good input of gags here that would run for it. Um, as it is, I think I'm maybe just shooting too high for a quickly drawn single panel cartoon. But if we were, in fact, brainstorming a short 2 page, maybe 1 or 2 page comic, we'd have a lot of good stuff here to work with. I wanted my own elf on the shelf. All right, there we go. We've got a drow knitting, or a Drider, excuse me, Drider knitting. There's our second cartoon for the day. Hello. Are you digitized? Are you digitized? Thank you for joining. Glad to see you here. Casey says it's a wonderful life. I think I talked about that earlier. Oh, another great Christmas movie. Such a good Christmas movie. It's funny how we were talking last night with my movie group about how so many things, even a Christmas Story, and It's a Wonderful Life, are similar in that they were not popular when they were in the theaters. They, in fact, both did pretty badly in their theatrical run, and it was only by being brought onto TV. Uh, It's a Wonderful Life fell out of copyright, so that uh, stations around the country back in the pre uh, cable TV days, stations around the country could bring that in without having to pay to license it, and so it became something that got played on lots of stations and played everywhere, and people saw it and fell in love with it, and then it became a beautiful Christmas tradition of a movie that had done terribly in the theaters and had been all but forgotten. And A Christmas Story also did very badly in the theaters, and even coming on to cable. There was cable then, of course, and came on to HBO and other paid channels. Didn't do well at all, and it wasn't until TBS picked it up and started doing a thing where they ran it for 24 hours straight. It was A Christmas Story. It ended once and it started again, and you couldn't escape it. And tons of people saw it. It became part of tradition. The the funny bits that were there that no one knew about because the movie hadn't succeeded caught on, and suddenly it is a beloved traditional Christmas movie. So you just never know. You never know. Like with this cartoon, not a great cartoon, but if everyone remembers it and talks about it next year, it could become a beloved tradition. I'm just saying. Hello, Linnea. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. When Harry Met Sally. Oh, you said were you saying A Shop Around the Corner, the original When Harry Met Sally? Yes, though the Shop Around the Corner is the original You've Got Mail, but what I mean is You've Got Mail is a remake of the Shop Around the Corner. But yes, When Harry Met Sally fulfills that same niche a generation later. Okay, well, here we go. 2 drawings down. Looking pretty good. This, of course, our last episode before Christmas is next Wednesday. But I think I'm going to do a Christmas. I'm going to pre-record a Christmas themed show, even more Christmas themed than this, and have that run next Thursday because I'm not going to be around live on Thursday next week. I'm going to be doing holiday stuff with friends. Michael says Christmas Story has been shown in a marathon annually on TNT since '97 and it's on TBS since 2004. There you go, TNT. I'm remembering is TBS incorrectly. It was TNT. You're right. Good catch. Good fact checking there, Michael. All right. Done 2 drawings. Let's come back to our let's reset thing. Well, let's try that again. Take 2 as I reset the stage. All right, we've done 2 drawings. Let's go back and do one more. We're going to do one more, and then we'll wrap this puppy up. Here we go. We're going to roll one more time. Once or twice, a third time, and 5. 5 is our next 2. And once or twice, a third time. No, we did the 5. We're 3. 5 and 3. That is going to be an owlbear on a blustery day. Owlbear on a blustery day. Okay. Go to the sketch layer. We're going to turn off that. Go back to our blue sketch lines. Owlbear on a blustery day. Owlbear and blustery day. Bear and blustery day leads me straight to Winnie the Pooh. Right. And Michael, there's Winnie the Pooh. Owlbear, Winnie the Pooh. There's owl and Pooh in one. Wow, this is... I don't have a gag for this, but my brain is jumping around to that. If I had a hammer, if I had time, if this was not a quick draw kind of situation, I would start looking up the drawings for the classic drawings for Pooh and Owl, and and I'd try and make a joke out of that. I have some kind of I'd have some kind of owl bear here, and I'd have Pooh and Owl. Owl will be on a thing, and Pooh will be there, and I'd make up some kind of I mean, I could probably do it anyway. Particularly since I'm not going to worry about the fact that Disney might sue me if I tried to make money off it. Wow, I'm doing a very tiny sketch, right? It's sketches up there, but I'm liking how it's. Um, I'm liking how it's laying out, so I'm continuing to shape it out. I was talking before about the fact that you need to worry about posturing. Well, by drawing something this small, I can get the basic layout questions done without worrying about uh, without being able to get overcome with details. There's just not enough space. That's why I like to do a lot of my idea drawing, my idea doodling in a notebook, a small notebook at that, because I've got to do it small, and then the ideas get their shapes there, and I can expand them more. Like I'm going to do here. I'm going to grab this and I'm going to expand it. And now we've got something to work with. I'm not sure what the words are going to be, but I have a pretty good idea that this is what I want the lines to be. I want dark eyes for the owl bear. Go. Not the best owl bear I've ever drawn, but not the worst by far. Suppose if I really wanted it to be really wanted to play this up. Let's think about this for a bit. Fat bottom driders. um, I'm gonna actually turn this off for a second and come back to a new layer with a sketch. So of a different sort. Again, if I really wanted to play this up, I could have a standing owl bear in a very aggressive pose and a very D&D kind of owl bear. Roar. And then over here I'd have Pooh and Owl. Maybe I will go with this. I don't know. Let's grab that, make it a little bigger. how can I play around with that to make it work a little more? Well, what I can do is take the owlbear and make it even bigger. Then take the whole thing and blow it up like that. There we go. Oh, I'm liking this a lot more. I'm liking this a lot more. I don't even remember what. Turn this on. What was it? Owlbear. Oh, Blustery Day. All right. I'm not even. You know what? I'm leaving out the Blustery Day. The Blustery Day is the Pooh and owl reference. So again, this is the kind of thing that happens when you do this kind of idea creation, right? There's not actually a blustery day in there. I've let it that phrase take my brain somewhere it wouldn't have gone otherwise, and then it's gone to another place it wouldn't have gone otherwise. And we're at this idea for drawing, and that's the way this creative process works. The reason that the idea of doing the random encounter style of improv cartooning, of improv ideation, is that you throw two things together and suddenly you get a third or a fourth idea that wouldn't have been there otherwise, and that's what's going on here. So I'm going to clear out. Where is it? Where is it? Clear that layer, that lines layer. I'm going to move line 18. Layer 18 is going to become our new sketch layer. And we're going to go back to the lines and we're going to draw this one. Yeah, you know what? I think that there would be certainly two ways to look at this. One is that I'm failing to meet the strict interpretation uh, of the rules of getting an improv hint, and then I'm providing something which doesn't match it. But this is not about that. This is about creativity. This is about coming up, doing something fun. Also, it's about fun. I say that at the beginning of every show. And that means that don't let, in so many ways, don't let the rules get in the way of having a good time. Don't let the fact that the dice rolled blustery day and there's no wind and nothing blustery about this drawing at all. Don't let that get in the way of the fact that this is inspired by that because it's got the Winnie the Pooh reference. And that creates this drawing. I love it. I love the fact that this has actually come up. Perfect example of the kind of creativity this show is about. And I know it sounds like I'm patting myself on the back, and I guess I am. But that's all right. You know what? When you come up with a good idea, it's okay to be a little proud of yourself. Also, this is a pretty good owlbear, if I say so myself. No one else is going to say it for me. I mean, you might, but interestingly, I would say draw the thing you're most confident in, or this honey pot is more important than a lot of other things in this drawing. So I'm going to draw that first. It's not the most Pooh Bear looking Pooh, but okay. There we go. Oh, this again. This may not be the best drawing I've ever done of any of these things, but it might be my favorite. I'm gonna come back here. Pooh's eyes are not working right. Not working for me. Deep in the 100-acre wood. I think that if I were to play around with this um, a cartoon, I might try and come up with a caption that would have nothing to do with them saying anything. It would say something about, um, and that's why that that's why no one played D&D was never played in they never played D&D again in 100 Acre Wood or something like that. Something like that. Let's turn off the sketch layer and see what we got here. Owl's looking a little underdone. I was still thinking about this. So I'm thinking that if I take this whole thing and I move it up like that, I can actually put a caption down here, and I think that's what I'm going to end up doing here. So let's do the coloring on here first. In, and we'll go back to our gloaming brush. Let's start with Pooh and Owl. Pooh Bear has very orange coloring, plus the red shirt. It's a very Disney Pooh. And then maybe that's a little darker than that. There we go. And then Owl is going to be why is Owl green? I don't know. It's probably not. But Owl is often brown colored, but I want there to be a difference in between Owl. I want to use brown for our Owl Bear. So I'm going to use a blue-gray for Owl. Then we'll come to our Owl Bear. And I'm quiet now because I'm thinking about the words that I want to type, and maybe that makes for terrible a show. I should be talking to you rather than thinking about these words. Yeah, but I don't know exactly what I'd say. I'm continuing to do my usual shape within a shape style coloring, which allows me to color a little sloppily, but yet help create that feeling of extra depth and texture, three-dimensionality. Cracking myself up. All right. What do I need to do? I've given Owl a little shading, so I need to give the Owl Bear also a little bit of shading. Not a lot. Owl just got a little. The Owlbear also. Just a little, again, to give that extra sense of weight and three-dimensionality to it. Just a little bit. And maybe Pooh too. And Pooh too. A little darker than that. There we go. That'll do it. And now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to come back, and I guess maybe you don't know this, but one of the nice things about Procreate is that I can add in text onto this. So I'm going to add text in, and I'm going to move it down to the bottom here. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to select that. I'm going to change the font to Times New Roman. And I'm going to change the font size down to about 25, I think. Let's see. Yes, and then I get to come in here and type. So I'm going to type. That was the last time anyone ever mentioned anyone. That was the last time anyone in the 100-acre woods, anyone in the 100-acre woods ever mentioned D&D. Last time anyone in the 100 acres ever mentioned D&D again. Again, seems like a weird. I'd need to play around with this to get it right too. But that was the last time anyone in the 100-acre woods ever mentioned D&D again. And we're going to select all of those. We're going to come down here and change it to italic. We're going to put ever in underline. No, ever. Can we underline ever? No, that's not going to do it. Grab just the ever, make it underlined. There we go. And then I can move that a little bit. I can move the drawing. Sorry. Oh, it's locked. I didn't want to lock it. I'm going to move those up. Ooh. also the lines. Grab all those. I'm going to move them up a little. Turn off the sketch. I know, I'm talking to myself, not to you. I apologize. I apologize. I'm so focused on this that I've stopped. I almost forgot that the camera was on. Probably not, because I don't narrate what I'm doing to myself. All right, so there. This will go above everything else. And there we go. That's what we have. We have a finished drawing here of an owlbear on a blustery day. So that was the final is better than last. Let's edit that. That was the final time anyone in the 100-Acre Woods ever mentioned D&D again. Was the final time anyone in the 100-Acre Woods ever mentioned D&D again. Boom! Done! And I think it actually works pretty dang well. I would call this one of the more successful finished cartoons that we've done on this show. And I don't know that I haven't left you out of that process. I was so far in my own head. But that's sometimes what happens when I'm drawing. Let me see. Let me come back and see what was going on in the chat room. You guys were having fun without me too, or in spite of me, maybe. ER looking on in puzzlement. That would be a way to go with this. The irony in the random monster table is a little spot on. Yeah. A little on the nose. Mashup of Winnie the Pooh and Dungeons and Dragons seemed a little, yeah. Yep. Oh, I didn't sign it. Oh, thank you, Michael. Yes, I do. I need to go back and sign that. I'm really happy with this one. It would not do for me not to have a signature on there. So we're going to put our stand in the corner. Oh, I'm going to make sure that it's one of my signatures I'm happy with. It'll happen, if you start drawing and you start doing things, you'll find that you will develop. You should naturally develop. Don't worry about it. You will naturally develop a signature that you feel good about in the same way you feel your drawings, or feel good about your drawings. And it will vary as it's a signature. It's not always exactly the same. But you'll find a way that you like it best, and there will be times when you finish a drawing and you'll want to make sure, take special care that you put a good signature on your good drawing. At least that happens to me. I should probably talk to some of my other cartoonist friends. I feel very confident that they will say the same thing is true for them. But there you go. We had a very good evening tonight. Our final drawing here, of course, is an owlbear on a blustery day. Owlbear and Blustery Day, which just got us into a Winnie the Pooh and Owlbear cartoon. Winnie the Pooh and Owlbear 2. Before that, we had a Drider Knitting. And before that, we had a zombie ice skating. And those are the things we drew tonight. What fun we had, what fun we had. I want to thank everyone who showed up here for the live show. Michael Pastor and Chris Andrew and Casey Butt were all instrumental in helping to get those together. Very entertaining company. Thank you for joining me. Linnea was here for a bit too. Always a pleasure to have you here, Linnea. And Are You Digitized stopped in for a while. And I know that looking at our sketch at my control panel here, that there are some others of you. Because I think I'm going to record an episode, and I will do that as a live stream also. So if you keep your eyes open, another good thing to do would be to subscribe on Facebook, because they'll let you know. That's where I'll be for sure. Facebook, or sorry, YouTube is what I meant to say. Subscribe on YouTube. It helps me if you subscribe to the channel. It helps me to share this with more people. Is what it really helps me to do. And it would be great if you did. I'd appreciate that. If you're looking for a holiday gift to give to me, just click that subscribe button, baby. And if you already have, maybe tell a friend or two about the channel and the shows and what we're doing, so that they can enjoy it too. So thank you, everyone. Hope you all have a very happy holiday season and enjoy the holidays themselves as they come around. I will be back sometime soon. Yeah, I was gonna say, it might not be till the new year on a Thursday night, but if not, enjoy the rest of the year. Have a happy new year, and I'll see you very, very soon. Thank you all again.